Hello and welcome to the Friday, November 11th edition of the Contributor Comms team meeting. I'm your host, Cassim Fields. As usual, please remember that we do have a code of conduct, which says essentially be respectful of your fellow speakers and attendees and generally be excellent to each other. And usually here at the beginning of the meeting, we offer the opportunity for any new folks on the call to introduce themselves. So if you're new, totally optional, but if you would like to say hello and tell us a little bit about why you're here, we'd love to meet you.
It might also be good for the experienced people to introduce themselves too, so that the new people know who you are.
Sure.
But while I'm talking, I could go ahead. Yeah, so I'm Dawn Foster. I don't usually attend this meeting, but I've been involved in SIG contributor experience in the past, and I work at VMware on open source community strategy.
Wonderful. I'll go next. I'm Chris Short. I work at AWS doing containery things, basically whatever they put me on. And I also contribute time here as an advisor to the contributor comms team, as oftentimes comms is hard.
I guess I'll go then. And hello, I'm Cassim Fields. I have decided that sub-project lead, I guess, is an appropriate title for me, which I actually need to update the GitHub for. So I've been working with this team since 2020. I lead these meetings and generally help out and do things here. I don't really know how to describe what else I do.
I'm also a developer. Everything. There you go.
Yeah. I'm a developer advocate at Google as well. Anyone else?
I'm Gabe. I'm here to just, I guess, see what I can do to be of some kind of use. I'm new here, so I'll try to be helpful.
Awesome. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hey, I'll go next. I'm Mofi. I'm in Kasdan's team at Developer Advocacy at Google for GKE. Here to see if I can be helpful as well.
Are we introducing ourselves again?
That we are. We've got a few new folks on the call today, so
okay.
We're just doing everybody.
Excellent. Sorry. Yeah, just trying. So apologies. So I'm Fred. I'm apologies. I'm currently driving, but I've joined some months ago, and I've been contributing mostly around the blogging guideline related to that, as well as other bits and pieces in there in this community.
Yep. As soon as we update the GitHub repo, Frederico will be our blogging lead for this group.
Oh, thank you for that. So I've been promoted live. It's like
you're the one who like created the role.
Yeah,
congrats.
True. Yeah, but okay, so it's like what's that film, the Heinlein movie, Starship Trooper. You have to post until you're dead, or you find someone better to do it. So I'll take it on that condition.
Noted. Might want to update the blog lead role handbook with that.
I wanted to say hi. My name is Camille Maldonado. I'm stationed in Costa Rica. I used to be part of Linux communities in the past, but it's been a long while since I don't contribute. So I'm here to put my 2 cents wherever I could be helpful. I have a full-time job at SysDig doing Kubernetes things, and I've been using Kubernetes just for around 2 years now.
Nice.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Thank you.
I can go next. So hi there. So my name is Imran. So I also joined this SIG like 3 months back. I got my membership for Kubernetes and for the SIG as well. And yeah, so I've been working basically on the technical aspects for this one. I started a little bit on the blogging part. So just learning and doing some stuff around the SIG. So I'm also like daytime, I'm working at TPM for the Continental, it's an automotive company. So I'm happy to share and learn together with everyone.
And as soon as we update the GitHub repo, Imran will be one of our tech leads and head of the KDev, our Kubernetes.dev contributor site.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's
words, don't have them. Anyone else?
Hi everyone. So I'm Asif, and back I guess I have been interested in Kubernetes for a long time now. So basically the idea of something, I'll just go and say it in the layman, most lay terms as possible. See, the idea of an orchestration engine just used to fascinate me, and I had not actually worked on that. So the company where I'm working used to be on Docker Swarm, and now we have shifted on Kubernetes. So it's good that I'm actually getting some hands on that. Earlier, I had once joined. I don't exactly remember which SIG meeting, but it's been many months now. But yes, I hope to keep joining these meetings so as to get an idea of what the actual community that is driving that thing that so many people use functions as. And I would be very happy if I am able to contribute in any way possible. I'm stationed in India, and so that's it. Hello everyone.
Welcome. Anyone else?
I think
You're
that's the
also
whole call.
just about. You're also welcome to introduce yourself over chat if you're uncomfortable unmuting or just want to do that, or also welcome to not introduce yourself because that is totally optional. Since we have so many new folks on the call, it might be a good idea for us to actually go over what our group does for once, which we do periodically when we actually have a number of new folks on. So this is the contributor comms team. We are a sub-project of the special interest group for contributor experience. The general idea of the special interest group for contributor experience is kind of, I like to describe it as making sure that the folks who contribute to Kubernetes have a good time, have the resources that they need. We run a number of meetings and events for contributors, and do some like documentation of how to get started contributing and all sorts of things like that. So since we do all of these things in the community, specifically targeted at the contributor community, we need to make sure that folks know what those things are and how to get involved with them and how we help them. So communications are an important part of that. So the charter of our team as the contributor comms team is to make sure that the contributor community knows what's going on in the community and to make sure that the external community knows about the wonderful things that our contributors are doing. So we help out with blog posts about things that the community is doing. We have a Slack bot. Granted, I think it's still not quite working right at the moment, where we can ping a bunch of the special interest groups within the Kubernetes project to let them know about important things that are happening. For example, the annual report work is going to be coming up soon. So we usually try to make sure that the community knows about what's in the annual report. And sometimes we're asked to help make sure that the SIG leads and folks know to contribute things to the annual report. So that'll be a thing coming up. We also have the Kate's contributors Twitter handle. So we try to report the news on there for KubeCon. We queue up a bunch of tweets about what's going to be happening at the conference to go out during the conference. And we also finally have automation to tweet out whenever there's a new blog post on the relevant sites like kubernetes.dev and the main kubernetes.io website. So we have a few different, and we can also email folks at KDev. So I said KDev earlier because I always think KDev because it's kubernetes.dev, but KDev generally refers to the the mailing list that goes to all Kubernetes contributors. So sometimes we need to send notifications out that way as well. So there are a number of different tools that we use to communicate with the contributor and external communities. And that's kind of us. Anything else you want to add, Chris?
Drink your coffee and your Ovaltine. I think you did good.
Stay healthy. And we like to have fun. So anytime you feel like popping in and adding your thoughts or asking a question, please do. We're here to help make sure that you are having a good time in the community and are having fun with us. A lot of us are volunteers. I'm excited to hear that several of you are on your second or beyond attempts at getting involved with the Kubernetes community. One thing we've talked about before is that a lot of folks we know in the community tried multiple times to get involved with the community, and eventually you find a place where it sticks. So good to hear that you all are back. It's all about being stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, perhaps we should get started with our notes.
I think it's worth pointing out, Caslin, the way
Yes,
we
please.
do our meetings, we have a big block of tasks that are just like action items that we go through after we go through the notes. So
Yeah.
you'll see the work in flight as we do this.
Yeah.
This is slightly unusual from other like meetings in the community you might go to.
Yeah, each group is a little bit different, especially as we're mostly volunteers in the contributor community. Each group kind of finds its own way. So the way we do it is we have this table up at the top of like ongoing action items that we need to check up on. But before that, we do kind of a general check-in, which is noted below the table. All right, so we'll start with that. If you haven't added yourself, add yourself if you can. If I think I've got just about everybody.
If
Oh no.
you can't edit this, join the KDEV mailing list.
Yes. Do join KDEV. It's a good idea.
And you can Google it like Kubernetes mailing list filtering. If you use Gmail, there's a lot of suggestions.
And there's also a SIG ContribEx mailing list. I think you need to join both.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. If somebody wants to find those links, that'd be a good thing to do.
They are in our repo. Hang on.
Thank you. So we start out with updates and big wins. Obviously, the biggest win for the community lately, KubeCon North America happened. I should specify NA because the CFP for KubeCon EU closes. When does that close? The 18th? I think we've got like a week.
I
think it's a week.
Don't tell me that. I have such a great idea for. Never mind.
You need help?
I'll do it in NA. I can't keep up with this like level of cadence of CFPs just for KubeCon. It's a lot.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Don. Yeah, so whenever one KubeCon ends, another one is beginning is pretty much a good rule. So if you're interested in applying to speak at KubeCon, please do let us know. We are quite involved, and I at least am more than happy to review submissions and things like that. There's also separate consideration, which I might as well mention now, even though it won't really be a thing for a while. So the regular CFP is for most of the tracks at KubeCon, but there is a separate maintainer track, which is just for the open source projects of the CNCF. And that is a totally separate CFP and process for getting those talks in. So several times our group has had a talk as part of the maintainer track. We didn't in NA. I have doubts that we will in EU, but SIG ContribEx at least will. So there will be SIG ContribEx content at KubeCon at the very least, most likely.
And if you're in this group and we get to the point where it's like, hey, I would like to, do this talk again at a, KubeCon, we can definitely do that.
Yes. More than happy to help folks.
Yeah, we can always remind people what we do and that we're here to help.
I think a big win worth celebrating from KubeCon NA is that we did have tweets go out. We kind of struggled to get them done this time. I put most of them in the tool like the night before they were supposed to go out this time, which is not the way we usually try to do it. We do have a tool for managing tweets. Granted, there's the whole Twitter thing going on right now, but if you want to help out with tweets, do let us know. Also, a good thing to mention that we haven't mentioned yet, which we probably should have said when we were talking about the group, we have a Slack channel in the Kubernetes Slack. So I hope you all are in Kate's Slack.kates. Whatever that one is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a channel within the Kubernetes Slack, which is SIG ContribEx comms. So any questions that you want to ask while we're not in a meeting, any asynchronous questions or comments or requests, you can put them into our Slack channel. Wonderful. Folks are adding
cool. Thank you,
links.
Mofi.
Yeah. Mofi's on it.
So many helpful links that we have out there. It's so funny.
Too many.
Yeah.
That is one of the biggest issues, I think, for new contributors is that there are too many things to read.
Too many things to read, too many things to join. How do you get started? That kind of stuff. And that's what we're supposed to be here to help with.
It takes a while.
It takes a lot of effort. Sorry.
The last one was October 14th. Are you talking about the last tweet or?
Yeah, so in the left side, this document has, it's like meeting notes.
I mean, he meant the meeting before a KubeCon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
is that what
Yeah,
you
we
mean?
haven't had a meeting in a while.
Meeting
so
notes,
last
they
meeting,
say.
yeah, so we canceled it before the KubeCon for preparation. So there was, I think we did 2 meetings, huh?
3, I think.
3, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it's been a while since we've met. Yes.
Yeah, we canceled the one right before KubeCon and obviously the one during KubeCon and the one right after as well, because
Last week.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's a weekly meeting, but okay. Thanks.
Yes, it's a weekly meeting, but
Supposed to be,
KubeCon is a water balloon on the community calendar because so many folks from the community are there and it's such a big lift that around KubeCon folks are also often busy. So not normal, happens twice a year. But
yeah,
granted, the holidays are coming up, so we'll be missing some more meetings. I could use a shadow if someone wants to help run these meetings.
I think that wish might be granted here soon for you, Caslin. So
I hope so.
Yeah.
Join me, run the meeting. Mofi is into trying it out. Folks are welcome if you want to take up that opportunity. So that kind of got off track, as we do.
That's fine.
So tweets did go out during KubeCon North America.
Anybody have any feedback about KubeCon that maybe we should pick up for next time? Like, could we have done more comms? Could we have done better comms? Did people even notice? Which is an even better point. Let me go look at the analytics real quick.
That's a good idea. Did anyone else attend? I know Dawn was there.
It was so busy. It's just hard to keep up with communications during KubeCon. It's just such a fire hose.
Yeah, I think they were. One could argue that the comms were more important during the virtual ones, since folks were on their computers anyway. I think it's also nice to update the community that's not at the conference about what is going on at the conference, in case they want to know.
And that's where it's kind of like, do we need to do a live component? Like, should somebody be on the Twitter talking about their experiences? I guess is kind of the better question for the group. How do we feel about that? Let's just put it in the notes and let it sit for now. But maybe next time we can, or next NA, or when, we could maybe set a goal to have some kind of live social interaction.
Yeah, it could even rotate between different schedules for different people. Yeah, and that would provide a more interactive approach with the rest of the community, right? I think that's worth exploring at least.
I mean, yeah, I would be okay of like setting up a social media like hangout kind of thing if we had to, and people just pick it up for hours at a time or days at a time, however we do. But it's an idea. Because I do feel like there's a lot of noise being made during KubeCon, but it's all massively broadcast at like everyone, not specific contributors, not like, hey, I went to this awesome talk about this in this SIG and I learned this kind of thing, right? Like we could highlight tweets like that maybe better. But yeah, having somebody or somebody's doing that kind of live during the conference would be a cool goal, I think. Obviously, we got a ways to get there.
I do live tweet normally from my own accounts.
I mean, I think we all do to an extent, you know, the mainstays of this group.
Yeah. Cool. I like the idea. We'll talk about it more for EU.
Yeah, should be fun.
Any other KubeCon North America notes? Sounds like not for right now. We can always come back to it. Any other updates and big wins recently? Okay, we'll move on to new items. So Ray put in a request for us. He's not here, but he did request for review on PR 6927 that updates files in K community contributor comms to reflect the name change. We have another name change file.
So yeah, the entire repo still says like upstream marketing in the pros, like in the actual text of the markdown files and everything. So it's kind of like a find and replace kind of situation, basically. Just
context for all
our repo ourselves.
Yeah. Context for all of the new folks. We used to be called the marketing team, and we decided contributor comms was a better moniker for the work that we do. So we're in the process of still doing all of the name change stuff. Okay. Fix links, like name change. Yeah.
Oh, you already did it? Oh, let's just... Okay, cool. I like this.
Yeah, Ray is on top of stuff.
No kidding.
So helpful.
What issue is
also, if you happen to see things that say upstream marketing, do let us know, because we would like to fix
trying
those
to change
things.
that. Yeah.
I would go ahead and like put an approve on this, but I am not logged into GitHub right now, so
I will go grab it
later. Yeah, or welcome to do that.
Shoot. Here we go. Not okay to test. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong PR. Which
you'll probably never see that, but thank you, Ray. And then let me see if I can find the other thing. There we go. Here we are. So I ran into Adolfo at KubeCon, and he was like, "Oh, Caslin, I need comms. I need help."
Oh, okay.
So that was exciting. He was saying that there is a change that I think actually went out this week. So I think we're now behind on this. That was gonna be a breaking change for some users, not a lot of users, but a few. I know, right? Need some more information on that. But they were working on a blog post about it and wanted us to help shepherd that through. I told him to reach out to Frederico, and then I didn't hear from him after that. Did he reach out to you?
Yeah, yes, it is. And I've already, I discussed with him what would be the next steps. He did say that they were still discussing the actual content of the blog. So it's not like it's ready on their side. There's still discussion. There's still adjusting, and I said that we would sync then later on when it thinks that they have so that at least according to them the content is good enough, or at least technically gets the approval of everyone, then we would follow up with the process, which I explained that. Yeah.
It's not actually, I would say this is not a breaking change because we're not getting rid of GCR, but
we're not getting rid of GCR, but this does help us load balance between the clouds. And this is a really big deal for AWS customers specifically, so they don't have to reach out of their accounts to pull stuff in, because that actually is an expensive operation. So yeah,
really important. If you can help share this message to your communities, that would be really, really helpful. Basically, what's happening is we have been hosting the canonical images for Kubernetes on Google Container Registry because the project started in Google and that's just kind of a legacy thing.
we've been trying to get rid of that for years.
Yeah, and we actually spend 2/3 of our budget on just the egress costs for the downloads from that registry. And most of them are going to Amazon. So
Right.
if we just hosted the images on Amazon and people could
Which
just
they're
grab
there.
them from Amazon, then that would drastically reduce the cost of running the project, and we could focus our funds on the things that actually let us improve the project.
So I'm sitting on the
So-
ECR team right now. So this is a super big deal for us in general, right? Like we had to do a lot of work to enable this.
So we do have a new solution, which is registry.k8s.io, but we can't just get rid of GCR,
No.
which most people are pointing to, and we can't redirect it. I talked about that with people the other day. So we need to just like tell people, please start using registry.k8s.io instead of the old URL where you would get those images.
I spoke with him, so this was a couple of days ago. I did say that I would open, following the process that we have established. I would open the PR with him as a co-author, and we will take it from there. I'm still waiting for the actual document to be finalized, because it was very clear that they were still having active discussions on aspects of that, and I think it would be rather wasteful to try to start things up without that being already decided.
Yeah,
but I'll reach out to him today or something, just to be sure that it's there.
Rock and roll.
And I was talking with Bob about this like yesterday or the day before or something. And he was saying that they want to do a major push on this at the beginning of next year. So
Cool.
to really spread the word about it.
Okay.
So new folks, if you would like to do something as your first activity as part of this group, it might be useful for you to review this blog post. Your perspective as someone who isn't familiar with this change could be really helpful in making sure that it's clear to folks who also aren't going to understand this and who might be able to help us make this happen. So if you would like to review this, the link is here in the notes. Let me grab the link again and put it into the chat.
The one thing for folks to remember is that a lot of times developers kind of get stuck in their ways. And, you know, helping spread this message, even if you don't understand the reason behind it, if some developer in a company sees this, it will benefit them, right? This is one of those interesting use cases where getting this out there in a big way helps the entire community. And is one of those few things that you can actually say, yes, this one change will affect the entire community in a positive way. So spreading the message about registry.k8s.io is massive.
And to reiterate how important it is, we almost ran out of budget in November, and the whole project would have come to a halt because we wouldn't have had any more budget for all of the things we do to improve the project because of all the money we're spending on people downloading these images. So we really need people to move.
I want to ask, are there any plans to approach any other big consumers of these images, like perhaps I don't know, IBM in their IBM cloud or?
So
Pete's Infra is in charge of that.
Yeah. And all that we really can know about who is downloading these is we know that they're going, like, which cloud provider they're going to. We know that most of these are going to Amazon. And so like Azure already has the images hosted in Azure and they use that for their own services. But this new link is really interestingly designed. They did a talk on it at the Contributor Summit, where it will direct you to the mirror in your cloud provider. So that's really the best way for us to do it. Even if we did know exactly which companies are pulling, they're going to the cloud provider anyway. So that's where the images need to be hosted.
And it is standard practice for cloud providers to kind of host these images for their customers. So if IBM Cloud doesn't have them, I would kind of be surprised.
We have a partnership with IBM,
and
we use IBM extensively. So I'm gonna ask around.
Good
Please
call.
do.
Yeah, if I know people at IBM, we can make that happen, right? Like, I don't think that's a big leap if they don't have one yet.
Yeah, same. We can connect.
Yeah, I don't know if they incorporated that into the design for registry.case.io, but if they haven't, maybe that's an area for you to contribute to.
And remember, there's probably a Kubernetes enhancement proposal for this that has all the details of what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I'll find
Would
that.
recommend learning about it and telling your friends and reviewing that blog post. Oh, no. This is now highlighted gray for some reason.
Yeah,
oh, it's because it's a link. Yeah.
I also, as part of the PR push, I also volunteered to make the markdown version of this because that's the way that it's going to get published, right? So that's another reason to be sure that the discussion is done in the Google Docs so that we don't have to extensively change things afterwards.
Yeah, so the way that we usually post our blog posts is in markdown format via GitHub. So we usually draft them in a Google Doc like this so that we can all collaborate and get things together, and then export it to Markdown one way or another. And we have this whole process documented thanks to Federico on our GitHub repo. It's a really wonderful thing for folks to get involved with, even if you're new. Please do review that blog post and kind of follow along, and you'll start to learn about how blog posts work. Any other questions on that or new items before we move into our table? Sounds like we're good. We do have 20 minutes left and our table is long, so it's probably a good idea to move on. All right. Oh gosh, why is it so long? So first thing, Hina's work, which Hina isn't here today, but what are we working on here? Yes. So Hina did some work for us earlier this year where she put together a new team for us in GitHub. So we have folks who are regular contributors to this team in the team in GitHub. And the idea for that is to be able to notify most of the folks on the team when there are issues or PRs that need our attention. So a second part of that is making sure that we actually do get notified when those things exist. So I think Hina did update the K community issues template. So now when you create an issue, it has us tagged in there. When you create an issue that's like directed toward our team, it has us tagged in there, but you could remove that when you're creating the issue. So it's not a perfect solution. So we were looking into a few other things. And Atarva was going to help out with that as well. And Atarva isn't on today. So just a bit of context on what's going on there. We'll just go ahead and skip that. And so the next thing, KubeCon tweets. You can see that this wasn't updated since before KubeCon. This is something that we do twice a year. If you hang out with us until KubeCon EU, until like February of next year, honestly, we will need help with this project again. So basically we have a sheet where we lay out a kind of rough schedule of what tweets we want to send out during the conference, highlighting contributor focused stuff in particular, like maintainer track sessions. So you can see there are a lot of tweets. So I usually set up this spreadsheet to give you a sense for what tweets we need, and then have people assign themselves. There are examples of past tweets. So this is a really nice project for new folks, which we will start again in February, probably.
So Caslin, we have a Google Drive shared thing now, so it might be worthwhile to like shortcut all the previous spreadsheets we've had into that directory as like per reference, so that people know, like, here's good examples of tweets and such, or past examples at least.
So move the sheet into our new drive.
Mm-hmm.
Into our new drive. New action item.
Yay. Yeah, we kind of just need to just organize all the things.
Let's put this not in Caslin's personal drive.
Right. And I need to do the same thing. I need to go scrub my current G drive setup and migrate things.
So do you have the link to that new drive that you could put in here? That'd be
Yes.
lovely.
Stand by.
And then I
find
can
the
do
Zoom
that.
window. There you go.
Ah, lovely. Let me grab that link.
Mhm.
Eventually load.
That's it. There's nothing in there right now.
Yeah. But I needed it to load so that I could grab the link.
Of course.
All right, and let's put that there. So I'll do that after this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on from that one. I didn't get to delete that row. I'm slightly sad about that.
Sorry.
That's okay. We'll probably delete it next time.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a pretty easy lift. Lift and shift. All right. Tide merge method squash. Federico. You did have a new PR on this before KubeCon. Are you still working on this? Is he still on? Yes, Federico is on. Any updates on your Proud Tide for Contributors work, Federico? Looks like it's still open.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, I can.
Ah, perfect. No, it is open. I did. So after the last major change that I did, I also committed some additional stuff. So for my side, I think that I just need to ping workers again, just to be sure that it's good to go. His last comment was in that direction. So that's. I just need to know exactly what else is needed to close it.
Lovely. Thank you, Federico.
So I'll have something about this next time. I forgot to insist on this, but from my side, it's mostly done.
We've been working on this since KubeCon EU this year.
This will turn into a white paper.
Yeah. Sometimes things take a while in this community, and that's okay.
Yeah, tell me about it when we get to the 6 spotlights. That will be.
Yeah.
We should write a blog about it. How it came, and then
we'll get that out by next KubeCon NA.
We target for that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Federico, for pushing through on that though and getting it to this point. Much appreciated.
My pleasure.
I say that a lot in this meeting. All right, so we'll move on past that. If you need any help, you know where to find us on Slack.
Yep.
Update the owner's file. So this is one of the GitHub updates that I need to do now that it's after KubeCon. I was hoping to do these things yesterday, but imagine that, didn't get to it. Today I'm just like helping out with a customer meeting all day where I'm just on call for questions. So I will probably do this today while I'm sitting there not actually listening to it. I'll just say that and we'll update that again later. So we'll move on past that. Update upstream contributor comms GitHub team. So we mentioned that Hina created a GitHub team for us so that we could get alerted about things that are going on. Since then, we've had a lot of new folks join our group and we're really excited about that. So we want to update our GitHub team to reflect that. So another GitHub update that I need to do. I'm going to like highlight these so that I can find them later. I'm going to make them pink. Okay. And Avinesh offered to help with that as well. So I'll reach out to him. Moving on, Slackbot. So we tried to use the Slackbot during our steering committee election. That was just like a month ago or something, not even. But the Slackbot had been broken by some changes that were going on. And then it's back up, but it's not actually in all of the channels that it needs to be in. So you need to add the bot to the channel for the bot to be able to post in the channel. So we needed to fix that. And there might've been something else. Imran.
Yeah, so actually, so only thing missing was that we need to add the bot manually. So that's the, yeah, is it much required feature?
That's going to be pain.
Yeah. So
why do we have to add the bot manually? Why can't we do that through the SIG.yaml?
You mean using automation, Chris?
Yeah, yeah. Like I forgot the backstory there.
Yeah, so I have to check as well. So I don't have the permission. So that's the problem. So
okay.
I give my
like,
Slack. Yeah, I want to test it and see how it actually works, because Rajula has the permission and Atharva has them to add me into a channel so that I can, test them and see how it actually works. I don't know if Chris or Kathleen are part of the group. So yeah, I have to have a hands-on on it. So it would be great if some of either Rajula or Atharva could add them. So I gave my ID to Atharva, but I think I have not yet been added to the group so that I can test them. So that's where the status.
So yeah, we need to change this user groups file to add you as a member.
Also, yeah.
I think I can do that real quick.
Do we have access to do that? Yeah.
And I forget, there's another file that actually adds things to the channel. So yeah, or adds bots to channels kind of thing.
So that's it. Also, yeah. So I can also check if something is broken because I can't do anything. So I just asked last time Atharva, but I don't know the status after that.
What's your Slack handle? Just drop it in chat so I can copy and paste it.
Yeah, I'll bring my ID as well.
So if you can't figure out automation to do that, we're going to need to go in there and do that manually, right? So that might be a good early task. Good first issue.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll create an issue for it. So at least let's say the issue is to add the bot manually to all the X number of channel, N number of channels in our Slack. I'll just add the issue. If you find automation, it's good enough. If not, also anyway, the task needs to be accomplished so that before the next big announcement or something happens, we have it in place. So
it's not like it'll hurt to add it manually, right? So
no, it doesn't. But
might as well.
If somebody was like, oh, we're going to clean up all the bots, and they just purged every bot and then reran automation, we would not get re-added.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I'll go ahead and create an issue so that how we'll see how the solution turns out.
Cool. I know that I tried to do this before when I was trying to use the Slack bot, but I wasn't sure which bot user in Slack was the right one to add. So that information would be very useful to have.
So it's
some documentation around this.
Yeah. So remember that little doc I had? That's the most documentation we have about it. So yeah.
Task for you, Imran, is the lead there.
Yeah.
Okay. We can figure this out.
Imran,
if you want to just tag me up, we can look at it later.
First of all, I just want to create an issue after asking that what's exactly the problem. So adding this yeah, manually or automated way would be the solution we need to answer. So I'll create an issue, then we'll see how it goes. So,
if you want to help with that, ping in the chat, reach out on Slack and at Imran so that we know that you want to help and we can get you following along with that process if you're interested in working on Slack bot automation.
I'll at least get you added to the group today.
yeah, that's
Wonderful. So I'll move on past that. We only have 11 minutes left. Review repo, look into adding role descriptions. We do have role descriptions now. I'm going to change this to update repo with role descriptions. So we basically spent months where every one of these meetings, we debated what roles we should have in our group and how we should define them and things like that. And then we had individual members of the group write out the definitions of those roles, who mostly folks who were doing that work anyway. So as I was mentioning earlier, I need to update the GitHub repo. This is another one that I need to highlight pink. So we have most of our roles defined. Our roles are not super strict. They aren't the only thing that you do. If you are a lead in a certain area, you're welcome to help out in other areas. You're welcome to change and move. But they are guidelines for these are types of work that we need to have done, and we need someone to own that work. So that's kind of the purpose of our roles. And the roles that we have are social media coordinator, which I guess is basically myself right now. That role is defined and in our repo, but we still need to update the main page of the repo with who is serving as that lead. Each of these also, the handbook has information for shadowing. So if any of these tasks or roles sound interesting to you, you can shadow those roles and become that lead. So social media coordinator manages a lot of stuff around tweets, making sure that our Kate's contributors account is moving along nicely. We also have Avinash, who will be our events coordinator. I mentioned that SIG ContribEx has a lot of events that go on. So there are individual coordinators for those events at the higher SIG ContribEx level. But those events also need comms and to make sure that the contributor community knows what's going on for those. So we wanted to assign someone in our group to kind of keep an eye on the landscape of events going on in the contributor community to make sure that we are getting those communications out. So Avinash is our main person there. We have a concept of a project manager role that we've been discussing, but we don't actually have this one defined, or we haven't decided if it's useful or something that we're going to have. Hino is interested in it. So that one's still in progress. So we also have this concept of an approver or leader type role. I think I discussed this with some folks at KubeCon from SIG ContribEx, and they suggested sub-project lead just to have a lot of that kind of stuff that we were talking about there. So I think that's what I'm going to add to our repo. I should probably update this. Sub-project lead. And I bold people's names in here so that if you get an item assigned to you, you can find it. Okay, so I need to add the sub-project lead role. We mentioned the tech lead role. Imran defined that one. It has been merged. So we have that role defined, and then the blogging lead role, which Federico owns. Any questions or comments about roles? Like I said, I intend to get these updated on the main page of the contributor comms repo this week. So if you go to the top of this document, we have a link to our contributor comms repo, And in there, you can find our role handbooks if you want to know more about each of these roles. You can also reach out to the individuals. They can tell you all about it. Next item, 7 minutes left. Contributor site, create a project overview page. Are you still working on this, Imran? Oh yeah, this was new contributor workshop stuff too.
Progress has been made after some time. So it seems bit, I need little help on this one. I will say like, I need really help on this one because I'm not progressing much as I would have expected, because I was hoping on the document, which is the new contributor workshop document or the course, which they have been gonna come up. It's not at live, so I've seen the preview and also the document, but it has little info for this particular task. So I have to actually manually see through the architecture and code base, which I'm not really familiar with all the stuff going in K8s. And yeah, so I understood few pieces, but not much. So I am not progressing on this one. I don't know.
So did this turn into, we need a page on the contributor site for the new contributor workshop content?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So no, this is not part of the new contributor workshop course content, but it's
Right.
something separate which explains a little bit about the code base tour and architecture.
Okay.
Let's say this exact section is actually not part of the contributor workshop at all, but this is a user requested to have this as a high level overview of the architecture and
That's a big ask.
Yeah, it's a big ask, and it's a very challenging one for me. So I looked up a few pieces, but I'm not really I found few bits, but I think I need to ask the folks on the GitHub issue itself how we should proceed. We'll see.
You know what I think might be a good approach for this? So the ContribEx SIG as a whole is working on updating some of their own roles. And they're working on making sure that we have a tech lead role at the SIG level as well. So maybe this would be a good question for our tech lead, which I think is still kind of being worked out. So maybe ping in SIG ContribEx and say that you want to ask the tech lead about putting some information on the contributor site about how to navigate Kubernetes, the Kubernetes code base. Is that a good way to say it?
Yeah, I'll do it. Maybe you can write the notes. I'll
ask tech lead in SIG for help creating content for k8s.dev on navigating the Kubernetes code base. We have 4 minutes. So I have a note in there to hopefully help you ask that question. Next item, the contributor comms name change has been completed. Seems like there is still an issue here.
I think you just need to approve it. I'll be done.
Okay.
I tagged you in it just now, so it should be at the top of your notifications.
This is not the same one, right? This is 6927. Okay, so yeah, I should have just copied that whole thing. Update raise. Let's just do that. And to all of you out there, if you see upstream marketing around somewhere, please update it to contributor comms. Going to move on past that to another thing that would normally take us a while, but we only have 3 minutes, which is SIG spotlights. So we have this running project where it's open to anyone who joins us in these meetings or generally wants to help, to create a blog post where you shine a spotlight on a special interest group within the Kubernetes project. So a few that have been done in the past would be like SIG Windows is the one that I did. What other ones did we do? We did SIG
storage.
Oh yeah,
storage.
We did a lot.
Right. Yeah, we've done a number of them recently, which is really exciting. But there are so many SIGs in Kubernetes. There are plenty more to do. These take a really long time to do because they do require collaboration. So you would reach out to that SIG in Slack and say, hello, I'm part of the contributor comms team. I want to write a blog post about your SIG. Who should I talk to? Usually that's going to be the chairs. So you'll reach out to the chairs to interview them. We usually recommend doing that asynchronously in a Google Doc. It often takes them a while. The 1.26 release is coming out in December. We're already in code freeze. So SIG chairs are going to be busy. But it's always good to get the process started if you want to do one of these. And then you would conduct that interview and turn that into a blog post. And Frederico has laid out our blogging guidelines so that you'll understand how to go through that process. So anyone who is new to the group, if you are interested in learning more about the SIGs within Kubernetes, this is a great opportunity for you to do that and get some public content out there as well. Reach out to us in Slack if you're interested in that. And I'll kind of leave it there since we have 1 minute left. Updates to the blogging instructions. This is done, right? So I can just remove this line. Can I remove one line for the table?
Yes.
Migration from Katacoda to GitHub Spaces. As folks may know, Katacoda is gone now. So we're looking at moving to GitHub Code Spaces, which is a new thing. We're just kind of keeping an eye on that. We noted that it needed help, but also doesn't need help immediately. Not quite ready for help yet.
So yeah, Craig and I talked very briefly at KubeCon. I know we wanted to do a deeper dive at KubeCon, but it was KubeCon. So Craig is still working on this to my knowledge, and it's almost done or is ready for
exciting.
like me to jump on and review. So I need to follow up with him at some point.
First reviewing. And we are at time. Let's see if I can quickly do an overview of these remaining items. Validate command, Imran, I know that you've been working on that. Mofi, you are also looking into that a little bit. You all can sync asynchronously. There was a blog that needed to be reviewed. It just needs SIG docs review. It doesn't need anything from us. Keep track of SIG docs blog subproject process changes. Ray wanted to actually kind of emulate what Frederico has documented for the SIG docs blog subproject as a whole, which is exciting. Security comms guidelines. So when we have to do communications about security incidents or things like that, those communications are very sensitive. We'd like to have more documentation on how to conduct those communications appropriately. So at some point, maybe we'll do that. That's on hold. Scheduling tweets. So we have a way on GitHub to schedule tweets for K8's contributors. It needs some updates. We also have the tool Buffer. If you're interested in helping with tweet stuff, reach out. Update README to reflect name change.
That's done.
Yeah.
Well, you can delete that.
Okay, good.
Because we already have a thing for it.
Lovely. Ask Bob to delete meeting. Meeting was deleted. Oh no. Tweet today and Monday about contributor comm sessions. We did that. New code of conduct committee. Comms. Oh yes, we did that. Yeah, we're good there. Wow, so much stuff to delete at the bottom of the table.
Good.
And your admin notes, adding that to our documentation.
I just dropped it in the Google Drive. I need to figure out. There's multiple pieces to the Slack bot thing. I got to figure that out.
Cool. So that was a very quick overview of the last few items in our list, and we're 2 minutes over. So I think we'll be good for today. If you have any other questions, I'm fine to stick around for a couple more minutes. You can also ask us on Slack anytime. Thank you all so much for joining today. And I'll go ahead and stop our recording.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye.
You.
Thanks, everybody.
you.
Thank you.